Hello, dear seniors. Have you ever been sitting quietly in your favorite chair, maybe sipping warm tea or listening to the birds outside, when suddenly, thump thump, your heart starts racing like it just remembered it left the stove on? Number. Warning, no running up the stairs. No excitement, just you, still as a statue, and your heart doing the samba. Strange, isn't it? Some of us might chuckle and say, well, maybe it's just love too bad there's no one around. Or, my heart's just keeping me awake for no reason again. But behind the smile, there's often a little flicker of worry. What if this isn't just a passing flutter? What if it's your heart trying to whisper something important before it has to shout? You see, as we get older, our hearts may try to tell us things in the only language they know, beats, rhythms, skips, and when they change suddenly, especially. During rest, it might not just be a coincidence. So today, let's not brush it off. Let's gently take our hearts by the hand, sit down with them, and ask, what are you trying to tell me? Because sometimes, listening early before the storm is the best way to keep dancing longer. And no, I don't mean breakdancing. Let's leave that to the grandkids. Number 1. What are heart palpitations really? So, let's begin with something simple. What exactly are heart palpitations? Well, imagine your heart is usually like a polite little drummer. It keeps a steady rhythm, doesn't make much fuss, and just taps away quietly in the background while you enjoy your day. But every now and then, it gets a bit excited. Suddenly it's thumping, fluttering, or doing a little tap dance of its own. That's a palpitation. Some folks say it feels like their heart is skipping a beat. Others describe it as a flutter, like a bird flapping in the chest. And some feel a strong pounding, not the romantic kind, mind you. More like their heart's been spooked by a loud noise. Now, here's the curious part. It doesn't always happen when you're exercising or rushing. Sometimes, it sneaks up while you're doing absolutely nothing, sitting on the porch, watching the clouds, or lying in bed after a long day. And you think, what was that? Why is my heart playing hopscotch all of a sudden? It can be a bit unsettling, especially if you've never felt it before. But don't worry, not all palpitations mean something dangerous is going on. Some are just your heart being dramatic for a moment. Still, it's worth knowing the difference between a harmless hiccup and a warning tap on the shoulder. That's what we'll gently explore together in this journey, one heartbeat at a time. Number 2. Why do they happen while resting? Now here's the real head scratcher, isn't it? You'd expect your heart to race when you're climbing stairs, chasing your grandkids around the garden, or watching a tense football match. But instead, it happens when you're lying down in bed, halfway through a crossword, or just about to drift into a peaceful nap. Why on earth would your heart start acting up when you're at your calmest? Well, dear seniors, the truth is our bodies are full of little surprises. When we're resting, especially lying down, our heart is actually more aware of itself. There's less distraction from movement and noise, so you're more likely to feel every odd thump or flutter. And don't forget, the body is still working, even when you're not. Digestion, breathing, emotional processing, yes. Even feelings you didn't know you had can show up the moment you finally sit still. Like that unresolved irritation about your neighbor's noisy rooster. Also, as we age, our nervous system becomes a little more sensitive. Tiny changes in heart rhythm that once passed unnoticed might now feel like a drum solo in your chest. And let's not overlook hormones, dehydration, or the medications we take. Some pills that help with blood pressure or anxiety can tinker with your heart rhythm when you're resting. So if your heart suddenly wants to throw a party while you're trying to rest, it might not be panic worthy, but it might be your body's way of saying, hey, something's different, just so you know. And we listen, gently, without fear, because knowledge isn't frightening, it's freedom. If this video brought a smile to your face or warmed your heart, don't forget to tap the like button. Number 3, harmless flutter or hidden warning. So, how can you tell if that sudden flutter is just your heart trying out a new dance move, or if it's a discreet tap on the shoulder telling you something more serious is afoot? First, let's talk timing. A quick flutter that flickers away as soon as it arrives, like a candle in the breeze, often turns out to be benign. Maybe you had a strong cup of tea, felt a flutter of excitement remembering a fond memory, or simply stood up too quickly. These little hiccups often leave you puzzled, but not out of breath or faint. Next, notice duration. If your heart does a brief skip and then settles right back to its gentle rhythm, you've probably just startled it awake for a moment. But if it persists, beating rapidly for more than a minute or two, it's like a guest that overstays their welcome. That's a cue to pay attention. Accompanying feelings matter. 2. A harmless flutter might make you pause and smile. Oh, there you are, before life carries on. But if you feel dizzy, lightheaded, sweaty, or that peculiar heaviness in your chest, your heart might be sounding an alarm. It's as if it's whispering, "We need to talk." Then there's frequency. If these palpitations pop up once in a blue moon, say, once every few months, you can chalk it up to life's little surprises. But if they RSVP to every gathering, weekly or even daily, don't ignore that persistence. Even the most patient hosts eventually ask, "Why are you still here?" Finally, consider context. Are you stressed about a family matter? Did you skip your usual water breaks? Or perhaps you started or stopped a new medication? These everyday factors can nudge your heart into odd rhythms. Yet if nothing else seems amiss, it's wise to listen more closely. In short, a playful flutter that flits away on its own may just be your heart's cheeky way of reminding you it's still alive and kicking. But a lingering pounding or dizzying beat, that's when you lean in, not with fear, but with gentle curiosity and perhaps the willingness to seek guidance from someone in a crisp white coat. Because knowing the difference between a harmless hiccup and a genuine warning sign is one of the kindest gifts you can give yourself and your heart. Number 4. Common triggers you might not expect. Now this bit might surprise you. We often think something as dramatic as heart palpitations must be triggered by something equally dramatic like running a marathon or receiving shocking news. But more often than not, the real culprits are hiding in plain sight, wearing very ordinary clothes. Let's start with an old friend, caffeine. Oh yes, that innocent cup of strong tea or late-night coffee may be charming, until your heart decides to turn it into a percussion solo. Even decaf, if taken in abundance, can sometimes stir the pot more than we realize. Then there's stress, not the kind that makes you shout or slam doors, but the quiet kind, the worries you don't voice, the sigh you release before sleep, that lingering concern about a loved one's health, or a silent fear about growing older. Your heart listens to all of that very closely. What about dehydration? Yes, really, that simple habit of forgetting to drink water, especially during cool weather, can cause your body to react with a subtle panic. Your blood thickens slightly, your pressure dips, and your heart says, "I'll just beat a little faster, just in case." Let's not forget medications. Blood pressure tablets, allergy pills, even some herbal remedies can play with your rhythm like a mischievous cat plays with yarn. Never stop them on your own. Of course, but always tell your doctor if something feels unusual. And now, for a cheeky one, lying on your side. Yes, the very act of curling up in bed can press just enough on your chest to make your heartbeat feel louder or faster. It's not dangerous, just oddly enthusiastic. Even hormonal changes, especially during menopause or thyroid imbalances, can stir things up in the chest. Your body might be shouting, "We're making changes here," and your heart just wants to be included. Lastly, a big one we often overlook, lack of sleep. A tired heart is like a grumpy toddler, easily startled, quick to protest, and prone to unpredictable behavior. So before we panic, we pause. Check in. We ask, did I drink enough water? Did I sleep last night? Have I been holding on to a thought too tightly? Sometimes the answer is hidden in the gentle, ordinary things. And the remedy? Often just as gentle. Number 5. When it's time to see a doctor. All right, dear friends, let's talk about something truly wise, knowing when to pick up the phone and say, "Doctor, I think my heart is asking for a little chat." Now first, let's be clear. You're not being dramatic. You're not being silly. And you're certainly not bothering the doctor. You're doing what any wise soul would do when their body sends up a flare. So, when should you pay extra attention? If your palpitations are frequent, like uninvited guests who show up day after day, that's your cue. A heart that flutters once a season might just be playing around. But a heart that tap dances every other evening? That's worth checking. Or maybe the palpitations come with other signs: chest pain, shortness of breath, dizziness, or feeling like you might faint. That's no longer your heart being cheeky. That's your heart politely requesting a professional inspection. If you feel like your heartbeat is racing out of control, especially for longer than a minute or two, don't wait it out. Call someone. Sometimes fast beats aren't just fast, they're irregular. And irregular beats might need treatment before they turn into troublemakers. Another clue? If you have a history of heart conditions or high blood pressure, don't brush things aside. You've earned the right to be cautious. Experience doesn't mean you ignore new signs. It means you're wise enough to respect them. And don't forget, if you've recently changed medications or supplements and your heart starts doing the conga line, speak up. Doctors can't read minds, though we like to think they try. So give them all the puzzle pieces. Now here's a little secret. Asterisk, asterisk, doctors. Love prevention, asterisk, asterisk. They'd much rather see you early and reassure you than meet you later in the emergency room. So if something feels off, don't wait for it to become an opera. Call while it's still a whisper, and if it turns out to be nothing. Serious? Wonderful! You've just had a lovely chat, learned something new, and reminded your heart that it's in good hands. Because caring for yourself isn't just wise, it's an act of quiet courage. And your heart, dear one, deserves nothing less. Number 6. Living calmly with a sensitive heart. So here we are, dear listener. After all the flutters, skips, thuds, and thumps, what does it mean to live peacefully with a heart that sometimes acts like it's had too much excitement at a tea party? It means we learn to listen without fear, to respond without panic, to treat our heart not as a ticking time bomb, but as a lifelong companion, sometimes moody, often mysterious, but always ours. Some hearts are simply more sensitive, like a poet who feels everything a bit more deeply. They beat with emotion, they react to change, they notice the little things. That doesn't make them broken, it just makes them beautifully responsive. So, what can we do? First, we create calm habits, a gentle walk in the morning sun, a warm glass of water before bed, deep breaths during the news instead of clenching our jaw. We choose peace not because life is always peaceful, but because we deserve peace within us. Second, we nourish wisely. A bit less caffeine, a bit more hydration. Foods that love your heart back like oats, walnuts, berries, and leafy greens. Little acts of kindness from your plate to your pulse. Third, we share our stories. Talk to a friend. Tell your doctor, even if it feels small. Say, "My heart felt strange last night." You might be surprised how many others quietly nod in understanding. And finally, we reframe our thinking. A flutter doesn't always mean danger. It can mean slow down. It can mean breathe. It can mean you are alive and your body is speaking to you. In the end, we don't need to control every beat. We only need to respond with love and attention. So next time your heart skips or dances, place a hand gently on your chest, smile a little, whisper, "I'm listening." Because sometimes, that's all your heart ever wanted to be heard. And remember this, we don't age into fear, we age into wisdom. And your heart, dear one, is wiser than you know. So dear heart, if you stayed with us until now, Thank you. That already tells me something beautiful about you. You care. You care about your health, about understanding your body, about listening to the quiet signals that so often go unnoticed. Maybe your heart has fluttered before. Maybe it startled you in the middle of a peaceful evening. But from now on, perhaps you won't panic. You'll pause. You'll breathe. You'll say, "Hello there, little drum. I'm with you." This journey isn't about fearing the body. It's about befriending it. It's about walking gently with the changes, dancing slowly with the surprises, and always staying kind to ourselves. And now, before we say goodbye for now, can I ask you a tiny favor? If this video helped you feel a little calmer, if you found comfort or insight here, then please tap like, leave a comment below to share your thoughts or story. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next soft, soothing conversation we'll have together. And if someone you love has been feeling that little flutter in their chest, share this video with them. You might just give them peace of mind at the perfect moment. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you. Stay warm, stay wise, and until we meet again, may your heartbeat be steady, your tea be warm, and your days filled with quiet joy. With love from all of us here